Hi, it's Adam here, and in this episode of The Hypnotist, you're going to be listening to a hypnosis session created for a client that was a former bulimic, hadn't had a recent occurrence of a binge or a purge, but had got a lot of intrusive thoughts connected to the idea of binging or purging. And this was a very controlling, tenacious, insistent voice, kind of bothering them, and just having this voice that just wouldn't let them be in peace, and would almost take advantage of them being either bored or overwhelmed and try and coerce them or coax them into binging. And they didn't really want to feel this way anymore. So what you're going to hear in this hypnosis session is quite powerful reframes. There was a time that they were in quite a volatile environment in terms of home life and work life. And back then, binging and purging kind of felt like it helped. But they're in a very different situation now than they were in the past. And because of that, they felt that they were in a safe place. So therefore, the binging didn't really have a function anymore like it did perhaps in the past. So there is a metaphor of a very dark, dangerous, moody looking lake that transitions into a very calm and peaceful lake. Also, there is the reframe that the inner dialogue that is quite controlling is almost like a controlling ex-partner or a false friend, that it has an agenda and that agenda is not in the interest of them. And this idea that they would be fatter or uglier if they didn't binge is obviously this unconscious part preying on their fears. So there's quite a bit going on in this hypnosis session. And I think it will be useful for people that have had eating disorders in the past, or perhaps people that have got either a very critical inner voice or a controlling inner voice that encourages them to self-sabotage or do activities that would be linked to self-loathing. If you can relate to anything like that, then I think this hypnosis session will be beneficial for you. Now, just like most of my hypnosis sessions, this one was created for a real client. And I don't think everyone is aware that follows my content, either on the podcast or YouTube, that the majority of my sessions were for an actual client. But because of that, you're hearing a real hypnosis session, but it also means that some of the suggestions aren't going to be relevant for you because it was created for a specific individual. But it's also worth knowing that you could also work with me directly, just as this client here was working with me directly. And if that seems intriguing for you, click the link in the description and you will see a link where you can book a completely free 30-minute consultation call over Zoom to explore working with me. So just bear that in mind. For now, though, the ideal way to get value from this session is going to be to find a quiet, comfortable place where you won't be disturbed, to relax and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in, and as you breathe in a resourceful feeling of calm and relaxation, and as you exhale, that's it, just allow all tension in your eyelids to just be released, and with your eyes closed, notice just how much easier it becomes to drift deeper and deeper relaxed. In fact, the deeper you breathe, the more relaxed you become. And the more relaxed you become, the deeper you breathe. That's it. Allowing yourself to drift deeper and deeper, relaxed. Now, and just scan your body for any clues of tension, stress, or worry. And as you locate those sensations, just allow a feeling of letting go to dislodge and dilute those sensations, enabling you to feel that you can release those sensations as you exhale. You feel lighter, clearer. I want you to get a sense that sometimes in the past you may have purged your food. But what if you could purge overwhelming emotions just with a long outward breath? In your exhale, you are letting go of those feelings that don't serve you. That's it. Just allow them to be released. That's it. Taking you deeper and deeper relaxed. As your body relaxes, your imagination awakens. And I want you to imagine a lake, but not just any lake. I want you to imagine a dark, choppy, dangerous lake. This is a lake from your past, not your present. I want you to get a sense as you look out on this lake, a sense of unease. The lake is dark, and the lake may have creatures inside the lake. I want you to imagine you start to get towards the water. Just imagine your feet submerged under the water of this dark, restless lake. You can feel the wind lashing against your face. And perhaps something about this lake simply feels wrong. I want you to get a sense that you can feel the waves almost grabbing and pulling your feet, trying to get you into the dangerous lake. And this is a place where you once needed to be not just vigilant, but hyper-vigilant, aware, cautious, aware of your surroundings. Consider this place a place in your past, a place where storms formed without warning, a place where something inside you learned to survive, not thrive, but survive and protect. I want you to imagine how ridiculous it would be to wade into that dangerous lake with those children's armbands, those inflatable armbands that teach young children how to swim. It might keep you afloat. It might feel like it's helping, but it doesn't really protect you. It's the illusion of protection. I want you to get a sense that as you go back to the edge of the lake and see those dark, restless waters, as you breathe in a feeling of relaxation and continue to exhale any tension, stress, and worries, the lake is calming, quietening. The storm starts to fade, and the clouds begin to part, and the dark water becomes lighter and cleaner. And imagine stepping back just a few paces and notice how your perspective begins to change. The lake that was once dangerous now looks like a beautiful, safe lake, perhaps in an entirely different part of the world. So imagine seeing that new lake, the safe lake, the clean, quiet lake. This is a lake of calm tranquility. This lake seems to be inviting, relaxing, and with every breath you take, the lake becomes even more tranquil. The water settles, the wind stills, and the sky opens to blue skies and sunshine. That's it. Because there can be a lake that was once threatening, that has now become a lake that is still safe and serene. And you are no longer standing in danger. You are in safety. So breathe in that feeling of safety and exhale any feelings of being in danger. Just release it and let it go. You are no longer trapped in the storm. You are in the calm beyond the storm. And allow yourself to sink into that peaceful knowing, as if the safety wraps around you like warm sunlight after rain, or like a cozy blanket that makes a young child feel safe. And in this calm, your deeper mind is ready to listen. Because once there was a voice, like the storm or that dangerous lake, loud, demanding, controlling, insistent, and it claimed to protect you, to guide you, to keep you safe. But now you see clearly. It was the storm pretending to be the shelter. And now you finally realize that voice that's been trying to get its way, is just like thunder in the distance. Loud, but it can do no harm to you. It was like a life ring that once kept you afloat, but now it feels like an anchor pulling you under. So thank that voice for what it did for you in the past. and say goodbye as you choose to let it go. And every time that voice demands to be obeyed, I want you to feel a surge of calm defiance, like standing safely on the shore, refusing to return to that drowning lake. In the past, maybe you did obey the storm to survive, but now you trust that you are safe, and the voice is just an echo from a past or even a person that no longer needs to be in your life. And this part of you that once tried to control the chaos doesn't need to, because now you are the calm. You no longer need a jailer to protect you from a prison that you've already escaped. Feel an inner strength growing, like watching a toxic ex-partner knocking on the door of your mind and realizing you don't need to go back to the thing you've already left behind. Just because someone knocks at the door doesn't mean you have to open it. Just because someone sends you a message doesn't mean you need to reply. From this point onwards, this voice will feel like letters that don't need to be opened. You've heard them all before. They have nothing more to offer. People don't get what they deserve, they get what they tolerate. And if this voice gets its own way, it will feel even more emboldened to coerce and control and manipulate you. But you are free. You now see the voice for what it really is. A controller, a false friend, a toxic manipulator. And if you allow it, it will return. And if you refuse it, it will either have to change or go away. So feel that inner strength and defiance growing within you. So even if the voice shouts, screams, begs, your refusal to comply becomes a bold declaration of freedom. Not this time. In fact, never again. And you could acknowledge that voice as a frightened passenger on your bus, allowed to ride, but never allowed to drive. You are in the driving seat, and you will never give it permission to take control ever again. And the more desperate the voice becomes, the more it's letting you know you're about to be free of it. They say it's always darkest before the dawn, and the voice will be loudest before the silence, before that voice goes away for good. In fact, you can goad it to give you an ultimatum. You want it to say the words, "You'll never hear from me ever again." And when it says those words, you'll smile, because you will welcome the words. Not be afraid of losing this voice. because it served its purpose. You don't need it anymore. You're learning to surf the wave of urges, not drown in them. Watching the swell pass by without reaction. This voice is a part of you, but it isn't you. You are not the voice. You are the observer of the voice. And as you observe, the voice begins to lose its grip. And every now and then you could say, whose is this voice anyway? Sometimes you can even play with the voice. Make it squeaky. Make it quiet. Make it sound like it has an IQ of 40. Play with the voice so it loses all control over you. And each moment you hear the voice, it becomes less and less like a command and more like an echo or just static from a forgotten radio station. It loses its power. And letting go of this part is not rejection. It's releasing something that doesn't fit you anymore. You don't keep your old clothes from when you were 10. You outgrew them, and you've outgrown this voice too. You are no longer a child, needing control or coercion. You are an adult choosing freedom, moment by moment, breath by breath. Consider this, the nemesis. Your evolution has one final stage, meeting your nemesis, refusing to back down, to be free of it. Allow yourself to unleash the courage, the defiance, the inner strength to simply say, no, never again. And each and every time you don't act on the voice's suggestions, you prove to it and to yourself that it has no power over you anymore. This doesn't just work with the voice, but it protects you against other people that may try and control you in your future. When you defeat the voice, you simultaneously defeat people like the voice, manipulators, controllers, toxic narcissists that have an agenda, that want to take from you. And you can let the voice talk. You just don't need to respond. And as you refuse to engage, leaving those letters unopened, the letters get fewer and fewer. Or the nature of the voice becomes helpful, encouraging and positive. And under those conditions, well then yes, maybe you do open the letters, but not while it's controlling, not while it's coercing you to do something against your better interests. And if an urge to binge or purge arises, just imagine a storm forming in the distance. But you decide to stay safe, warm, and dry inside. You don't need this. It's your past, not your present. Perhaps you can recall a time when you ended a dynamic where someone was trying to control you. You found a safe place. You evaluated it for what it really was. You made a decision and you acted on that decision. So you already know how to escape this controlling voice. You have the blueprints because you've done it before. This voice is just another chapter that you've outgrown. I want you to feel liberated, having let go of this heavy anchor. These inflatables that aren't meant for you now at this point in time. And you are not at war with this part. You are simply choosing not to feed it anymore. You wouldn't feed cockroaches just because they come to visit. And if you did, you would get more cockroaches coming more frequently. You would starve the cockroaches, and you can starve this voice by depriving it of what it feeds on, your compliance and your engagement. When you don't respond, it loses its energy. So from this day forward, each moment you honor your body, your health, your vitality, with kind compassion instead of control, the voice gets quieter until it's barely a whisper. And I want you to imagine seeing a glimpse of you maybe 2 or 3 months in the future, a time where the controlling nature of this voice just never comes up anymore. And I want you to see in that future all of its threats were false. It was just a bluff, and you called the bluff. See yourself looking healthier, with a body shape more aligned with what is desirable for you. See yourself looking even more attractive, and realize that a future without binging and purging gives you more of what you want and less of what you don't. Allow this glimpse of the future to reassure you that the manipulative nature of this voice is just a bluff. And you've heard bluffs like this before, so you know how to handle them. Find yourself there back on that calm lake, and imagine going for a swim in the lake, washing off everything from your past and noticing there's still one anchor tied to you. Release it. Feel the anchor sink all the way to the bottom of this safe lake, and notice how much more freer you are now to swim and enjoy the lake without this heavy thing attached to you. Return to the shore feeling lighter, with more clarity, more defiance and more strength, as it's time to return back to the here and the now. So take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. That's it. Just wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes. Connect and calibrate into the here and the now, as I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. And you will awaken feeling resourceful, strong, clear, knowing exactly how to be free of something or someone that is controlling. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.